Welcome back to InsideX. This is episode number 9. We're already 9 weeks into this show and drawing very close to getting back to racing. If things had went as planned, we would have just finished up Wild Rose round 1. Actually, a lot of rain out there this weekend, so we avoided a mutter. Maybe a good thing. You got to look at the positive. But this week's show is brought to you by Data Video. All the cameras in the studio, the audio, helping us out here at Jetworks. Parts Canada. Rockstar Energy, get to 7-Eleven, grab yourself the new XD Thermo, Royal Distributing, Hoosier Off-Road, Cardo Systems, Yamaha Motor Canada, and a slew of other people that help us out. Today's show, we have Insider Trading. We're actually going to bring you the 2020 updated schedule this week. We're going to go and fine-tune everything we have and give you the solid plan of what we have for 2020. The Rockstar Energy recap. We're going to jump into Arena Cross. We have Abbotsford, BC. Always interesting racing there. Crazy dirt, crazy racing. Parts Canada prediction. We're going to go back to the 450 class. We have 4 riders we're going to talk about today, and Gauldy will break each one of them down. Our guest today, Luke Renzland from the MX1 101 Yamaha. The Dozer is going to be here, and he's going to talk to us via Skype. And Manitoba's rider, DJ Burmey, had crazy return to racing after a horrific crash. We're going to have him on the show, but we're going to jump to a quick commercial. We'll be back with Gauldy.
Day one, Fox has created products with intention and purpose, so we can inspire your best ride, your fastest race, your greatest adventure. It's how we connect and how we dream. We were made for inspiration and for possibilities, for fast starts and long journeys, for challengers and for champions. Fox was made for you. So get out there and do what you're made for.
You've got the ride, and we've got the parts to keep you going. Royal Superstores, with massive selections of products no matter what your power sport is. Top brands you've come to trust. Huge selection, amazing prices. Your one-stop shopping destination for the rider in you. Royal Distributing, Canada's power sports leader. Shop online, by phone, or in one of 4 retail locations. Fast coast-to-coast shipping right to your door. Royal Distributing. Eat, sleep, ride.
And we're back. Good to have you here, Gauldy. We're going to do another Insider Trading. Hope your week went well, and I seen that you got out there riding.
Yeah, I got a couple laps in there. Went myself to, with the kiddies and the fam jam down to Gopher Dunes again. Actually getting my suspension done by the 6-time champion on my 450. So I'm hoping to maybe line up for one of the Triple Crowns this summer and kind of feed off what he's going to put inside my suspenders.
Yeah, just the perfect recipe to get some W's. Anyways, we're gonna jump into some Insider Trading, and this week Insider Trading, like we talked about a month ago, June 1st was gonna be our launch. Obviously, this is June 3rd. We're gonna do the launch of the new updated schedule. Gauldy, what do we have here?
Okay, everybody, sit down, relax, and chill out for a second, because what we're about to show you and entail has nothing to do with the West Coast, unfortunately. Because of the COVID-19 and the restrictions from province to province and whether the 14-day quarantine, and basically no other province at the moment other than Ontario has stated that motorcycle racing can move forward, we now have to go all of Ontario, and in with the hopes of going to Quebec on the end of the schedule there, September 5th and 6th. We started in Cortland at Gopher Dunes, July 25th and 26th, and of course you can see that has been moved back 2 weeks from its original date of 11 and 12 with all the hopes. We have confirmation from the Ontario government that we are allowed to race in Ontario. We have reached out to every other government for that same answer. We'd look for the same wording, the same classification, everything that has gone on in Ontario. And for some reason, the other provinces are being a little bit more conservative with it. That's their prerogative. It kind of bites our program in the butt a little bit, and this is now what we have to do. And that September 5th and 6th date, that is another hopeful date right now because of the crossing of provinces and having to do a 14-day quarantine. That far down the road, we're hoping that gets lifted and we can get that one outside of province round in. But this is what we're dealt with. This COVID-19 pandemic has really turned everything upside down. For those that follow our sport, you see all over the world. It's not just Canada. It is everywhere right now, and it is a real shame. But us in the business of trying to put on motocross races, this is what we got to do, and this is what we're dealt with. It is not going to make everybody happy, and it's going to make somebody or some people more happy, and it's going to make others just go, well, whatever, we can go gate drops. We're doing what we can for the Rockstar Triple Crown Series, and this is what we're dealt with. So go for Dunes, Moto Park, Walton, Ottawa, and Saint Louis, and then, of course, Deschambault, again, is a hopeful one with that 14-day quarantine being lifted by that time. And our fingers are crossed that this all works out, but this is the final time right now, and dates that we can confirm right now, and we're our fingers so crossed, so Kyle, that we can make it happen. But this is what we're dealt with, and we're moving forward. And I'll tell you, there's been a lot of work behind the scenes, as well as you know, and hopefully the viewers at home can see that it wasn't just some throw it against the wall and hope it works here. This has been some work and a lot of hours on the phone, and trying to get in touch with these people that don't like to answer the phone, and the governments and the politicians and stuff like that. But this is what we got right now, and we're aiming to please with what we got dealt with, and here we go. It's time to get back racing, and the gate drops at July 25th, 26th, and go for Dunes.
Yeah, and just to point out a couple things there, obviously the schedule, you see 25th, 26th, the 1st, the 2nd, they're all double headers. We're going to continue with that 3-moto format, which means Saturday will be qualifying and 1 moto, and then Sunday will be the remaining 2nd and 3rd motos. They're all going to be live on Fox Sports and MAVTV. So,
awesome. And
also the Two-Wheel TV app. So we still got all that live coverage for both days, which is huge. Now, Gauldy, I have a lot of questions. Amateur racing, premix, and WMX racing. What is the plans for that?
So again, as of right now, all those dates will have all 3 of those disciplines in it. So amateur racing will begin. We're shooting kind of a Friday, Saturday idea, and then fitting those pro qualifiers and everything Saturday afternoon. The schedule will come out, but 100% we are looking to have amateur racing go ahead for sure. And then now, with the idea of the 3-moto format, the Sunday kind of opens up for us as far as the schedule goes. So the WMX and the FXR premix, 100% a go. No problem there whatsoever, as long as all the dates formed and we're ready to go. So all the disciplines, amateur, WMX, and premix classes will be joined in at these races on these dates. The schedules are going to be tight, so we're going to have to pay attention and follow along. But as of right now, we are 100% go with all that stuff.
That's it's good to hear, and I know that I get a lot of questions through email. Our social media blows up over that stuff. They want to know, they want to go racing. Everybody's hungry for it, and I know Ontario's starting up here in June with your ammo races. Yeah, going forward, we're going to talk about SX and AX in the future date. We're going to sort those out, try to sort out the venues. Right now, venues are still closed. We can't get contracts for those events until a later date, so just stay tuned on that. But right now, we've got a moto schedule, and we're going to go racing July 25th, 26th. We're going to jump to a quick commercial. We'll be back with Parts Canada prediction.
Before the lights, before the cameras, before the crowd roar, before the gate drops, before the first turn, before the finish line, the podium, and the champagne. It's just me and my gear.
Welcome back to another Parts Canada prediction, Gauldy. I got 4 more riders in the 450 class for you to break down and give us your prediction for this season. First up, the Carlson Racing Husqvarna. Last year we seen him on the Club MX Yamaha. He's back with the Husqvarna team this year. It's Keelan Meston. What are your thoughts going into 2020?
Well, we kind of brought his name up a lot over the last few weeks once we were talking about those big players. Keelan kind of fits in just behind all those guys, your Dylan Wright, your Matt Gerke, your Phil Nicoletti, Cole Thompson, Sean Moffenbauer, he's in there with them. Actually, Sean Moffenbauer, Keelan Meston are quite a similar thing. But you got to love everything that comes out of Keelan. He's very boisterous. He loves to voice his opinion on our sport. He's a big supporter of the Dorva MX, one of the national rounds we were hoping to get to this year there out in Alberta. And he's a good dude. His heart's in the right place, and he's a very passionate racer. He really puts his heart on the sleeve when the gate drops, and we've seen that when he got up on the podium after doing so well in 2018 at Calgary there at Wild Rose. It was just awesome. His speech, it just uplifted the crowd and all that stuff. I don't see much changing, though, as far as results go. I don't feel like the program that he's on or the talents that he has are going to elevate him into that category if we're going to talk about championship, but he will definitely have those moments of somewhere you're like, man, way to go, Keelan. You're going to want to high-five him and give him what's up, but he'll always be there from that 5th, 6th, maybe 7 range, and then I think he'll stab a 4 or maybe even a 3rd if all those cards get laid right there, and but because he's just one of those guys that you love to see get up there. I just don't feel like everything that's got around him has given him just enough of the goodies to compete for that title, but maybe a podium in a moto or two could happen in 2020.
Yeah, and I agree. And talking about Dorva, it's a more of a hard-based track, much like Calgary, where he's really good on the hard stuff, and we just seen him at Riverglade and Walton, those two we just recapped the last few weeks, and he rode real well there. He was a top 5 speed. So maybe starting at Gopher Dunes, it might be a slow start for him. As we progress, we get to Moto Park, which is a little harder, and Walton, those might be better rounds for him moving forward. Another rider on that team that's went from the 250, much like his buddy Tyler Medaglia, now he's back on the 450, the number 11, Davey Fraser.
Davey Fraser, one of those good-hearted East Coast kids there, man. Just never, ever gives up. Nothing flashy about him. Super chill dude. Just goes out and rides and has fun. And definitely one of the fan favorites, especially when we get to that East Coast, obviously. And you got to be supportive of everything that Davey brings to the program. He never lets anything seem to bug him. He's super just kind of casual out there, almost like a beach bum, if you will, back in maybe the 60s or something like that. Just sitting there going, yeah, man, things are good. Whatever, we're going to ride today and have some fun. And again, I don't see him breaking any records or doing anything crazy out there, but he definitely can be a top 10 contender. And it'd be cool to see him get a top 10 in a series, top 10 450 in a series. I think he might have did it there a few years back. I'm not too sure, but he's right on that cusp of doing it, and I feel like he could be one of. I know he wears the forever number 11, but I know that he would want to finish top 10 in the 450 class in the overall series, and I think 2020 could do it with the schedule and the way things are going. Kind of a bit of an advantage to that East Coast guy, so maybe this year's the year that Davey kind of just gives us a little bit extra nudge and say, hey man, we got more for you.
Yeah, and we've been watching Davey Fraser ride the pro class since 2004 when he was still a super mini and an intermediate rider, jack of all trades. And he actually did some supercrosses and just missed out at Daytona before this whole COVID thing went down. But Davey Fraser, a likable guy, fan favorite, and always go up and talk to him during the races and stuff like that. Always a great guy to talk to. Moving forward, we got actually a new 450 rider, Jack Wright. He just moved up to the Honda 450. I've seen some videos of Instagram. Just a younger kid, a little bit of a talent there. Can he make a push to get into that top 10 in the 450 class this year?
Well, I feel like he could do a great job if he was like an Abercrombie and Finch model as well. He's got that sort of flowy hair and that good looks. Almost, he's got a little bit of Kyle Thompson in him out there, one of those kind of things. But as far as the bike goes, oodles of talent. Jack Wright has got oodles of talent out there. I believe maybe a bit of that sort of top 5 toughness contender for the podium type stuff is something that he's missing. I feel like when you watch Jack ride, he's a little bit soft out there where he needs to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more nasty on that bike. And of course, jumping to the 450, it's going to be a little bit more harder to hang on to that thing. So it might be harder to find that nastiness and aggression that I'm talking to. Because if you want to be a guy like a Phil Nicoletti or even go up against a guy like a Cole Thompson, you got to find that inner beast in you to battle with those type of guys. Now, if he's joining that class just to kind of get into that top 10, I could feel like he could be there. I mean, we got a good list of guys, but Jack Wright could definitely be in between that 8 and 12 range. And he's on a Honda, which is a great 450. We've seen Colton Fasciotti bring that thing to a lot of titles. So it'll be interesting to see it. I think it's a good move for Jack for the budget. He doesn't have a lot of money as far as racing goes. He's got great support and sponsors, but of course it just takes a little bit to get up to the OTSF type team or the Monster Kawasaki type team. But I think he'll fit in well, and I think we'll see some good stuff out of him. I don't know if he'll set the world on fire, but he'll have some moments there, just like a Keelan Meston type thing. We're like, man, what a moment today! Way to go, Jack, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I agree. I watched him a bunch last year, not only the pro stuff, but in the amateur. He was at the ECAN as well as the Walton Transcan, and I feel like he does better in the situation where he doesn't have those heavy hitters out there. It's robbed some of his confidence. When he was like almost the guy in those amateur races, he was battling for those wins on a small bike against 450s. And then when we get to the national weekend, he lacks a bit of confidence. So maybe he'll gain that over having that decent year last year in the 250s. So moving forward, 450 might be a better fit for him. And like you said, budget-wise, you can have a practice bike and a race bike, and you go, and you don't have to worry about them. Yeah. But the last one I have to bring up today, actually a Rockstar Energy athlete, gold medalist, X Games, Yannick Boucher. He's going to ride that Husqvarna 450 this year. Yeah, Yannick Boucher. Don't know a ton about him. Got to watch him a little bit last year and doing some of the nationals there. He's got some speed in him there for sure. He's got to find a couple extra gears if he wants to get inside that sort of argument with those big top guys. But with the way the schedule it is guys like him or a Jack Wright living on the East Coast, this could favor them. This could really help them this year, in a year where not everybody might be on that gate. And in saying that, that's not taking anything away from them, but it kind of helps give them that confidence they could use to tool into that 2021 season when everything gets back to normal. So a guy like Yannick Boucher, he could come in and really, get that moto. Say he gets like a 10th in a moto. That guy's confidence is going to boom, and he could do it. He's got speed. He's got skill. It's going to take a little bit of luck and maybe a few little bad things to happen to some other riders, but he could be doing that, and those are the kind of guys that could really jump into that confidence thing. And we know once you get confidence going right there, it makes you feel good, things start flowing, and things get better right there. And, of course, he's sucking down Rockstar Energy, so he's probably going to have a lot of juice within him. Yeah, we'll have to get him on the show and talk about his conversion from snow bikes to motocross. And I want to correct myself; he was a silver medalist at the
that's
the
right,
Games,
silver
gold medalist.
Yeah,
my bad. Pumping his tires, that's still an amazing feat.
That's amazing.
But I agree. Yannick might be really good when it comes to Go for Dunes, being that he has that snow bike background. He's good in the obviously if we go to Quebec this year, Deschambault, he's a good rider there. So I think he can mix it up the top 5. He could reach that goal of his, I'm sure, and mix it up those guys. But that's another breakdown for you, another Parts Canada prediction for 4 great riders. Can't wait to see those guys at the first gate drop. And we're going to move it along to the Rockstar Energy recap up next.
You've got the ride, and we've got the parts to keep you going. Royal Superstores, with massive selections of products no matter what your power sport is. Top brands you've come to trust. Huge selection, amazing prices. Your one-stop shopping destination for the rider in you. Royal Distributing, Canada's power sports leader. Shop online, by phone, or in one of 4 retail locations. Fast coast-to-coast shipping right to your door. Royal Distributing. Eat, sleep, ride.
There's nothing like race time. Something that's super undescribable. Nothing gives me that same adrenaline rush. It's all or nothing. Your heart starts beating faster.
A lot of nerves.
For me, I still get nervous.
The adrenaline.
You feel focused. Everything else goes away. You're in the moment. I think that's the feeling that we live for. One goal, one vision.
All right, Kyle, like you said, time for that Rockstar Energy recap, and it's time to go back indoors where it got a little bit messy. And I'm not talking about the racing itself. I'm talking about the track. Abbotsford, round 1 of the Rockstar and Triple Crown there in 2019. Man, we get to this place. We're looking for some good action and stuff going on here, and we're going to go to the Clash first. But you can tell the dirt right here, not too bad in this one, but it gets worse and worse as we get to the recast. But Nicoletti grabbing that start over your brother right there.
Yeah, great start by Nicoletti. And honestly, as much as we struggle with dirt in Abbotsford, the racing was unreal. Watching these recaps, you're going to see how much good battling goes on throughout the 3 main events. But right now, Nicoletti out front. This was the first time we actually seen him in the full series. We seen him in Supercross the year before, but he was out for vengeance right away. But you see the number 1 creeping up in his rear view.
For those brand new to the series, you see there, you saw Dylan Wright and Luke Renzland. The clash allows the 250 and 450 to come together from heat winners right now, but it is the 450 guys leading the way. Nicoletti, Thompson, and Gerke, 1, 2, and 3. And then the mistake by Nicoletti, here it is, and Thompson eats him up in the deep ruts right there. It's funny, you talk about how the action was. There was so much passing and so much action going on, but the track the way it is, and then look at Gerke, goes for it, nearly landing on Nicoletti, then stumbles. I mean, it was crazy for sure. But when we're as racers looking at it, you're like, oh my God, this dirt's so crappy. But man, does it really ever offer up some craziness? And look at, here comes Gerke again.
Yeah, these two get into it a couple times tonight. Look at Nicoletti trying to make that cutback, but these ruts really separated. And you see how good Nicoletti was early on. When it got ruddy, Thompson and Gerke ate him up, and they kind of pulled away. And there you see the white flag coming out. Thompson leading this first clash of 2019.
Yeah, he came out winning that first clash right there, gets an automatic 5 points towards that championship, and of course 5 points back to his rating arena cross, like a fist in the air. He was pumped. Cole is so good at that stuff. It really caters to that guy. That's nice and easy on the gas, and of course nice and easy on that clutch right there, because we see a lot of smoke coming out of those bikes and that stuff right there. But it's time to stop the clash. Let's get into the 250 recap.
Yep, so the clash breakdown there, it goes Thompson, Gerke, Nicoletti, Renzland, Wright, and then Tyler Gibbs, the young rookie there. He got himself in a clash, and Ryder Floyd, who DNF'd that one. But yeah, the clash is a smaller little event there. We're going to jump to the 250 main event.
All right, Kyle, 250 Pro main event. Once again, we saw the track a little bit in that clash right there, and a little bit more worse with more guys on it here, but the surprise of the night came right out of the gate, and there it is, the 296 Ryder Floyd, and he would actually lose this position once in this race, but man, he was unstoppable. Look at him, he's pulling away. He felt so comfortable with the way this soil was.
Yeah, and what you missed there, Dylan Wright in that second corner going down early, and this would have been, we didn't know at the time, but one of his worst races of the year as he went on a complete tear after that. But Ryder Floyd, the surprise rider of the weekend and pretty much of the year coming out there, leading this one out.
Yeah, it was a crazy beginning right now, the 296 Ryder Floyd. And then, of course, Jairi Mitchell out of Bermuda was sitting in second spot this entire main event here. And he was a surprise as well. First time seeing him all year long. But these guys right here went at it. Medags and Renzland were going at it like veterans, like you've never seen before, passing each other, hitting each other, making mistakes, and they could not find a way. Look at legs off the bike, picking laneways. And there's Jairi right there just kind of blocking the route.
This gets wild right here, Gauldy. Look at that. Renzland trying to tuck in here. Now Tyler going for the pass on Jair. And look at this.
Yeah.
He gets stuffed. Renzland gets up the inside, but then a whiskey throttle.
Oh, my God. It's hard not to laugh at these poor guys. These are professional racers, and they almost look like beginners. Renzland went all the way up to second. Then he's now back to third. McDaggs is back and forth. Jairi making the save right there. We actually missed a good clip of Tyler Medaglia getting that same sort of position. And then look at this. They then catch up to Ryder Floyd after all that mishap right there. Ryder Floyd makes a big mistake right here. He goes a little bit wide, opens the door right up for Tyler Medaglia, and Tyler gets stuck on the bail wheelies, and Ryder Floyd takes the lead right back. It was insane.
Right around the... Yeah, unreal racing. As much as the track was just getting blown out and these ruts were getting nasty through this whoop section, these guys, Renzland and Medaglia, pushing the envelope, but it was Ryder Floyd with the first main event win of 2019 and a surprise rider at that. The results for that one first, Ryder Floyd, Medaglia, Renzland, Canella slipping up there in fourth, and Mitchell there in fifth. Great main events, and we're going to jump over to the 450, Gauldy.
Yeah, let's do it. 450 Pro main event here of a long evening in some ruddy soil. The boys are ready. Cade Clayson of the Insider there. Can he get that jump and grab the rotorshifting.com hole shot? No, it's going to come from the outside. Nicoletti and Thompson going at it. It's going to go to Nicoletti this time.
Yeah, Nicoletti getting those starts, and that helped him out. But right here, boom, that started a feud between those two, and that's what Arena Cross is great for. Littner going down there early, and it looked like Moffenbauer struggling a little bit. But Thompson getting that gift early from the two American riders.
Yeah, he was just out for a bit of a Saturday night cruise on this right here, man. He made everything look really easy, but behind him it was a war, no doubt, between so many guys. But yeah, Gerke just kind of... I don't know what happened there. It looks like he might have closed his eyes and just kind of went for it because he ran right in. But this guy here, the Seiko North Kawasaki of Colin Jurin, not a surprise because he's very good at this in the Future West Series out in BC. But he kind of made the Phil Nicoletti and Gerke kind of make them work all night long. And there's poor Moffenbauer getting lost. Everywhere you look, there was somebody laying down or a bale in the way. And there's Thompson. There's one guy down. There's Moff down again. Wow, Kyle, this one was a hard time to call because we're constantly looking. There's a guy. Oh, there's a guy all the time.
Yeah, it was a rough night in the booth, but it was a lot rougher out there on the track. And Gerke just passing into second there. He was strong all night. Obviously, he had that little run in there with Nicoletti in that second corner, but he kept picking away, kind of keeping Thompson in sight and keeping him honest. And Colin Jurin, talk about him. Great ride by him. He was in the mix between Nicoletti and Gerke all night and just held his own.
It was cool to see the way Gerke finished up, too, because, he's kind of a hard guy on equipment, and riding in this type of soil, you're very hard on the clutch, and he managed to soldier that way through. And look at Nicoletti trying to get back up inside Jurin there, but he wouldn't make that pass. Jurin would hang on to it for the time being, and then Gerke getting in the back of guys right there. And actually, sorry, Nicoletti did make the pass. Feet coming off the peg, but Jurin would get him back again here somewhere else.
Yeah, he goes down right here, Gauld, in this tight corner, just loses almost a front end, back end slide, and then Jurin's like, thank you very much. I'll take that podium spot.
Phil Nicoletti, you can imagine the rage going on in his helmet right there. I feel like it was so hot in that helmet, it almost came off his head.
Yeah, especially having both the Clash lead and the main event whole shot there and letting it slip away and end up fourth for the night.
I love this. Look at this. And then Nick Schmidt, the other Cycle North Honda, his arm actually comes off the bar when Gerke runs in and blows away. It was, I guess, like we talk about, it's so crazy to see in the dirt. There's no way the riders like it. They can't stand riding this stuff, but us up in the booth, it was like almost a yucks sort of entertainment all put into one. Comedy, laughter, it was everything. And then there it is. Cole Thompson grabbed the win with a perfect night, getting the Clash points and the win. He's excited right there. Good job on him. And he was dominant on this night. That kind of stuff just favors Cole right there.
Yeah, the tight stuff he really enjoys. He stays off the clutch and low gears, and he's able to maneuver around. And that was a ruddy track we seen there. So the rundown for that one was Thompson. Gerke ended up second. Colin Jurin, Nicoletti, and Clayson rounded out that top five. And actually a notable mention, sixth place was Ryder Floyd, who won the main event in the 250 and jumped out with the big boys. So that's another breakdown. Next week we'll have Calgary AX Gauld, and maybe Nicoletti can get his redemption after that round there. We'll see. But we're going to jump out, and we've got a couple interviews coming to you. We got Luke Renzland and DJ Burmey.
You've got the ride, and we've got the parts to keep you going. Royal Superstores, with massive selections of products no matter what your power sport is. Top brands you've come to trust. Huge selection, amazing prices. Your one-stop shopping destination for the rider in you. Royal Distributing, Canada's power sports leader. Shop online, by phone, or in one of 4 retail locations. Fast coast-to-coast shipping right to your door. Royal Distributing. Eat, sleep, ride.
Day one, Fox has created products with intention and purpose, so we can inspire your best ride, your fastest race, your greatest adventure. It's how we connect and how we dream. We were made for inspiration and for possibilities, for fast starts and long journeys, for challengers and for champions. Fox was made for you. So get out there and do what you're made for.
Welcome back. I'm joined by a special guest, Luke Renzland, the Supercross champ from 2019, all the way from Live Oak, Florida. How you doing, Luke?
Good. Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. And I see actually you got your brother's shirt on there, Cody Renzland. He does his training down there, repping that. He's been putting you through the paces down there in Florida, eh?
Oh, yeah. It's we're in the middle of grind time right now. So, obviously with quarantine and everything, training kind of got, the training schedule got switched around a little bit. So we took April and May a little bit lighter on the bike, and then now we're starting another hard training block to get a little boot camp in, and then and get ready for race season to come around in July.
Yeah, and I know we spoke a bunch leading up to this interview, and I know that you're heavy into the Concept 2 ski, and I've seen in the last month you've done 2 marathons on that, and those things are just awful. And to do 2 marathons, you're huge flex, you said on Instagram, and that is a huge flex to your competition. Man, you're a savage out there.
I wouldn't recommend 2 marathons in a month to even my worst enemies. Yeah, I'm kind of new to the skier. I just got it coming into the winter. Got hooked up with Greg at Concept 2, and got a little support there. So yeah, getting bigger and bigger into it now that I'm getting more time in on it. And yeah, did 250,000 meters this past month, and everything in my body hurts now. Looking forward to taking a little bit of time off the ski erg and getting back on the bicycle and some other things to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, getting those calluses built up for Gopher Dunes, July 25th, 26th. But one thing I wanted to bring up, and I know that your brother Cody, he's your trainer, but he's also does your videos. You guys just started a series. I think you're going to episode 3 this week, and it's Dozer Days. If people don't know about it, they need to tune into your YouTube. Tell us how that got started.
Yeah, I got myself a camera and a laptop coming into the winter. We know that with Dreamland down here in Florida, everybody's always looking for a little bit more content, big jumps, like a nice scenic track. So we figured we would start something up, and finally, it's actually taken a lot more work than we planned coming into it. But now that we're set up, we are dropping a new episode every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, really just doing it for fun. Don't really think it's, anything much is going to come of it. Just doing it for fun and kind of filling people in on a little bit more of what goes on down here in Florida. And even when I go back to New Jersey and go racing in Canada, try to keep it going and keep everyone filled in on what's going on.
Yeah, and there's one video that sticks out in my mind, your Instagram video of when you got your new number 6 and you had a nice little dinner date. If anybody wants somebody funny but also works hard, Luke Renzland's the guy to follow on Instagram because he's got some comedic moments there. I just want to go and just talk about this Dreamland. I know you guys grew up New Jersey or from New Jersey, raced the amateur nationals, but like just at the end of your amateur career, you guys and your family built this Dreamland. How did that come? Like you got the property and just were like, let's build a sick track?
Yeah, I was still an amateur, so we basically, it was on a Vital MX forum that, it was actually a quad track at the time. It was up for sale, and it was basically everything my parents ever dreamed of as far as like a retirement property. And somehow they talked themselves into getting it, and we had Dream Tracks come out to build the original track on it, and now it's just turned into a lot more than we ever expected. So we have a main outdoor track, we have 2 full-blown supercross tracks and a sand track. So it's a full-time job, taking care of it, riding, training, it's a lot more work than I think anyone really realizes, but honestly, it's just living the dream. So it's worth every ounce of work that goes into it.
Yeah, I see you guys. You guys are just pretty much, quarantine was no big deal for you guys. You guys are at Dreamland every day, having everything you need right in your backyard. So you didn't even know that the coronavirus was going on. You just keep riding and doing marathons in your spare time. But, going into this season, I think last year, I think it was a bit, getting used to going from west to east and the indoor and out, like the Supercross. You started figuring out near the end. Obviously, a couple bike issues held you back from the motocross and an injury there late in the season. What are your thoughts going into this year? Do you think that the experience from last year is going to excel you that much more?
Absolutely. Honestly, coming into 2019, it was a really late start. I was talking to Kevin with the MX 101 team deep into January. I think maybe the last couple of days of January is when we actually got the deal finalized. So I only got to go south to start practicing on the new bike February 20th. So got a really late start on it. And as far as I go, I'm not really good at coming in underprepared. Like I kind of play mental games with myself if I don't truly feel like I'm ready. And that's kind of where I was at last year. So this year, obviously came into the off season knowing where I was going to be, knowing the bike, knowing the team, and knowing all those Canadian tracks that we're going to hit again this year. So I feel like I had a lot better head start on it this year. Honestly, I feel more ready than I've ever been. So the grind continues, and we'll see where we're at come July. But I think we are going to be we're going to be up there Dyson for sure.
Yeah, I believe it. And going into the first round, I see the track that you're riding at home. Obviously, you have that big track with huge hits, but you also have a sand track that you've been pounding motos. If you watch the latest YouTube, you can see you ripping around those. And there's going to be a lot of sand on the East Coast, as you know, Gopher Dunes being the first one. I think that's going to be a huge help for you getting there, and especially the heat you've been dealing with down in Florida is crazy hot, and July, it's no joke here in Canada. What's one thing that, your last season here, what's one thing in Canada that you're just like, man, that was awesome, and I can't wait to get up there and experience that again? Maybe it's a Tim Hortons cup of coffee or whatever you have it.
Honestly, probably the best time I had last year was at the Sand Del National. Actually had a few of my buddies come up and race the 450 class, just kind of vet riders coming up for fun. And we all did kind of a road trip together, stayed up there for the weekend. And then after that hot day at Sand Del, we headed straight to A&W for some fast food, some root beer. It was actually National Root Beer Day too. So a few too many cups of that, and that was probably the best weekend of racing for me last year, other than obviously Hamilton Supercross, getting the Supercross championship.
That, and what race was it that you went from racing the Triple Crown and then you went over the border, maybe slept 2 hours, I think you said, and then you went to GNCC to race 3 hours? I
wouldn't suggest that either. That's similar. That is very similar to 2 marathons in the month of May for me. Yeah, actually, it was Montreal Supercross, so we raced late into the night there, and then packed up my stuff in my van, headed across the border into Western New York for the GNCC. Yeah, like you said, it was about 2 hours of sleep on the side of the road at a gas station, and then continued to race 3 hours the next day in some brutal heat, and I felt awful for all 3 hours. So wouldn't suggest that, but I would honestly probably do it again if I was able to.
Yeah, I believe it. You love the punishment that it brings you. But, man, Luke, it's been great catching up with you, and we can't wait to see you do battle in that 250 class again. You were an exciting person to have in our series last year, and I think that 1 year under your belt is going to do wonders. Obviously, you got the Supercross title. I think the motocross title is well within reach, and we look forward to having you up here again.
For sure. Thanks for having me on, and I look forward to putting the MX-101 Yamaha up on top of the box sometime this year.
All right, buddy. Have a good one, and we'll talk soon.
There's nothing like race time. Something that's super undescribable. Nothing gives me that same adrenaline rush. It's all or nothing. Your heart starts beating faster.
A lot of nerves.
For me, I still get nervous.
The adrenaline.
You feel focused. Everything else goes away. You're in the moment. I think that's the feeling that we live for. One goal, one vision.
You've got the ride, and we've got the parts to keep you going. Royal Superstores, with massive selections of products no matter what your power sport is. Top brands you've come to trust. Huge selection, amazing prices. Your one-stop shopping destination for the rider in you. Royal Distributing, Canada's power sports leader. Shop online, by phone, or in one of 4 retail locations. Fast coast-to-coast shipping right to your door. Royal Distributing. Eat, sleep, ride.
Welcome back. I got a special guest with me today, all the way from Narrow, Manitoba, DJ Burmey. How you doing, DJ?
Good. How you doing?
Good, good. And not many people might have remembered or known of your racing. It's been a few years. Obviously, you did a couple of Manitoba rounds over the last couple of years, but back in 2017, you did the whole series, number 59 on a Yamaha as a privateer, one of the top privateers. Now we're here today, and I'm just going to talk about what happened over the last few years. Obviously, December 1st, 2017 was a life-changing day. Can you bring us up to speed on what happened there?
Yeah, so we're down, me and my buddy Nelson drove down to Wisconsin for just the weekend, just to get on the bike, get some riding in. And I just got a brand new 18 450, brought it out, and whatever, we're going. I think we made it into the 3rd practice, and I was going through Supercross whoops and ran out of gas, and just like a dead stop, head hit the whoop, rolled me 2 or 3 times with the bike, and then separated myself. And laid there thinking nothing was wrong at all. had a hard time breathing, maybe thought I broke a rib or so, and sat up. And then right away started coughing some blood out, and sure enough, they called an ambulance. We got x-rays done, had a C7 burst fracture in my neck, compressed T1 through T5 in my neck, or in my back. Broke my collarbone, fractured a piece in my face, and punctured a lung.
Wow.
Broke 4 ribs, so.
Really got beat up. And now you say run out of gas, like you actually physically ran out of gas on your bike?
Yeah, so it was still running when I crashed, but I guess just a little burp in the throttle, and it just dropped the front end so quick. I was so used to I can run a gas tank in my 250 for almost an hour and a bit, and I think I only got like 33 minutes out of this.
Oh, wow. And now that all happened in Wisconsin, and it ended up, what was it, all the broken stuff. Did you lose feeling in your legs at all from the broken neck or anything like that? Like, I know you went over to Germany for surgery, but what was the feeling while you were sitting in Wisconsin, obviously in a hospital?
Yeah, no, it just seemed like it was getting worse over time, and more pain was coming. They obviously had me on a lot of crazy pain meds down there, but yeah, no, it seemed like it was getting worse and worse throughout each day, like trying to sit up. And I guess just all the pain just started coming later and later, and then sure enough,
man,
started getting worse.
A scary incident. And now you got back home after that, and so the Germany trip, you got sent over there for some special surgery. What was that all about? What they do for you there?
Yeah, so they actually did a bone transplant. They took the C7 right out because it bursted. It was like a shatter. And they actually took C7 right out of my neck and put bone graft and caged it, and then plated it into my neck. Wow. So they said it's as strong as it could possibly be again, but it'll never be as strong as it was, type of thing.
Wow. It's how long was that? Like, did you go over there by yourself, or did you have family with you?
Me and my sister went out there for, I think it was 2.5 weeks.
Oh man, not bad. Good turnaround for that, going to Germany.
Yeah.
The crazy surgery. Now, all that happened, all those broken bones, and you know, almost losing feelings, your lower half and all that stuff. And now, how long was it till you got back riding and racing? Because that's a pretty crazy injury, and then coming back to being a pro national.
I think it was about 7 months. It was just before the Minnesota National of 18 that I got on a bike again, and my body wanted to line up for that race, but I obviously knew I had no conditioning whatsoever. So yeah, it was about 7 months until the first race. Yeah. And then, yeah, so 7 months.
That's not bad. Good turnaround. That's like a knee injury there, but man, crazy to come back from that. And now, obviously, we know that you raced Minnesota in the mud there last year in 2019. So you're back racing the Nationals. What are your plans for this year? Do you got any racing? Obviously, you guys being from Manitoba, you're pretty far from what we just announced there. We're doing an Ontario, Quebec-based series, but would we see you out here in Ontario?
Possibly. I was planning on doing the full West Coast series. So I was starting in Calgary, obviously, but that's totally changed with this whole COVID thing. But maybe throw some couple Manitoba rounds in, and I'd come out. But you know, it's still up in the air. Everything's still changing day to day. So I say physically ready for it now if it happens. So just play it day by day.
Had more time, more riding time under the belt. And actually, I seen that some videos of your track, Zoda, and you guys in Manitoba. Your family's a pretty big name at Manitoba racing, and you obviously have that Zoda MX track, which is very similar to what Gopher Dunes like, very sandy, a lot of big hits and stuff like that. Is that where you train and kind of spend your time?
Yeah, that's where it's been for the last almost month and a half, like constantly riding there. And we had a couple other local tracks, but mainly Zoda, yeah.
Yeah, this Manitoba is filled with awesome tracks, and obviously your family has a huge backing and stuff like that. I know your sister, I met both your sisters. One was, I believe, working with Fox. The other one was a paramedic for the Minnesota race we had. So you guys are deep rooted in that. Just want to go back a little bit. How did you get started in racing? What was your amateur career like?
Yeah, I obviously started around three, I believe. I did my first race in track in Altona, and my dad was big into racing, so he got us, me and Jamie started, I think, the same year. So we got into it that way. But yeah, it was just pretty much local racing for a while, and then we got down into the States when I was just coming off 50, so around 7 or 8. and then did a lot of states racing until I hopped on a 250 in 14. I think I did a year of pro in Manitoba, and then we went out for my first national in 15. That would have been just to go for Insanity.
Yeah, and I remember you had a good run in 2017, like we talked about, and you were probably one of the top privateers. What was your best finish that year?
9th in Truro in Nova Scotia.
All the way out East Coast, nice. Anyways, yeah, it was great catching up with you, and I'm hoping you're staying safe. And hopefully, next year we can get back out to do some Manitoba racing, maybe McNabbs, or maybe that Zoda will end up on the national tour. But man, it's great having you. Anybody you'd like to thank for your racing career so far?
Yeah, actually, my mom and dad had a big appreciation. Like my whole family behind me, my girlfriend, Rantec Industrial, Capital Motorsports, Good One Concepts. My sister obviously was hooking me up with the Sick Fox gear.
Awesome.
CTI knee braces, yeah.
So the whole gang there. But anyways, DJ, man, it's great catching up with you. It's awesome to see you get over such a big hurdle of having that nasty injury and then coming back into the Pro Series. We look forward to seeing you out there battling again. The 447, I believe it is, correct?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, buddy, you have a good one. We'll talk soon.
You too. Thanks.
And we're back, Aldi, with another social media check-in. This week, we actually check into some tracks, and a lot of tracks in Ontario are open for business, but across the country, not so much. Here's Walton's Cranscan looking unreal there. I'm sure, actually, you went there 2 weekends ago, I believe.
Yeah, I did. It was amazing. It was awesome to get out there for sure. Look at there, Brock Littner did a school at Whispering Pines. One of the other tracks that are open up in BC, Whispering Pines, Williams Lake, I believe, in Kelowna, are open for business. So check them out. There's a good shot of Dorver. That's actually a video. So make sure you hit them up on their Instagram right there. But look at the scenery there. That looks amazing.
Yeah, so that was going to be round 3 this year. Obviously, they'll come to us in 2021, and we'll get back to Dorva. Nice clay track. Keelan Meston probably going to get a podium there. Gopher Dunes looking unreal, and that's going to be round 1 this year, Gauldy. And look at that water system. Best in the country, I got to say.
Yeah, no, they do a great job with the water system. Beautiful. Look at MX101 Santa Lee. That place is so rocking at this time of year. Kevin Tyler and the boys making it look good. And Moto Park, I've been up there too as well. Obviously, such a great place to go practice. And Zeb and the crew up there at MP know how to make the Instagram photos look good. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, get the videos going, get those edits, and that's this is where we were supposed to be this past weekend, and maybe we dodged a bullet there.
Yeah.
Look at the mud. You saved a few bikes for privateers and the factory guys, but that's Wild Rose. They're actually open for practice right now, and everybody getting back going. And I actually talked to Dorva MX. They've been doing their thing, and they got their policies in place and when they can ride, and everything's getting moving again. I wanted to mention one thing about Walton. They have a big ride day this weekend. They're doing a full national prep, Gauldy, and I'm sure you know and talked to Brad about it. I think it's Friday. You might have more details on this. Is Friday elite practice?
Yeah, it's going to be a Friday for the elite riders. Basically, any pro riders are going to till it super deep, just like a national race. So yeah, if you can get out there on Friday, calling all you local pros or anybody kind of close by, come on out and check it out. If you like the deep ruts of Walton, this could be your choice or a chance to see them if you ever wanted to maybe ride on Pro Sunday or Pro Saturday.
Yeah, it should be awesome, and another good weekend at Walton. I know Gopher Dunes is buzzing, Moto Park, all the Ontario tracks, and we're hoping all across the country. I know Atlantic region, there hasn't been much going on besides you see Tyler Medaglia and those boys out there finding these sand pits and whatnot to ride. So hopefully more and more places will start opening up and Quebec will get back to normal business. But that's another episode, Gauldy. And actually we got Derek Schuster, team manager of GDR, on next week, as well as Manluck rider Chase Marquier, who just did Supercross this past Sunday. We'll be talking to him next week as well.
Yeah, that'll be great to have those guys on, and very cool to hear from DJ Burmey. I didn't know that background story for him, so it'll be a great interview with him and hearing that kind of recovery, kind of crazy stuff. But yeah, things are slowly picking back up. Again, we appreciate everybody's patience. Don't forget, you can get a hold of myself, Ryan, at mrcracing.com. Email me if you got any questions, any way I can support. I've got all the wording and classifications from the governments. I've built a document for MRC, and I've also built a back to racing document as well for anybody that wants to use it and get it into their local MPP or regional hands to showcase why we want to get back to business and hopefully get the Triple Crowns back going again. Can't wait to go for dudes, July 25, 26.
All right, buddy, another episode in the books, episode 9. We're going for episode 10 next week. Thanks for joining me again, and that's another episode of InsideX.